information session targeting the inclusion and justification of ICTs in the mathematics classroom.
I think I'm going to win. Oh. Yes! I knocked down a tower.
Look at the joy ICTs can bring.
They love it. I'm Bernadette.
And I'm Erica.
We've actually included our faces up here for you in the Prezi. You get this Prezi after today so that you can take a really good in-depth look at the information we're going to give to you. Our intention today is to show examples of how ICT can be used effectively as learning tools. We'll directly and explicitly link it to the Australian curriculum, as well as satisfy the interest of these little digital tech natives.
Yeah.
We'll also provide academic justification for doing this and illustrate how we as educators manage the inclusiveness of these ICTs as engaging learning tools.
So, firstly in this session, we're going to just touch on the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. These are a fundamental guiding document from AT2, which is the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership. So standards 2, 3 and 4 each have an explicit focus area dedicated to incorporating ICTs within the classroom and to expand our learning within our curriculum, expanding learning opportunities and engaging students in ICTs embedded in the classroom. Okay. As lifelong learners, like Bernadette and myself, we can assure you that the professional teacher standards that we abide by ensure that we stay abreast of the current expectations for teachers and that we can deliver this learning within the classroom using the resources of ICTs.
Yes, exactly. Now, AT2 also has a lot of resources for us online to utilise. For instance, we found this fabulous clip on the site that demonstrates perfectly how to set expectations. Setting expectations is fundamental to what we do. It eliminates a lot of the behavioural problems. And when you watch this, they are little kids in a long daycare centre, but if you look at it through the lens of high school students, any students, and even your own children in the home, you'll be given a really great, good idea of how this works for us by establishing them as the leaders who actually establish the rules themselves, and therefore they're not going to complain and they're all going to get a turn, and it is something that they want to do.
That's right. Okay, so next we'll just speak about the Australian curriculum. The Australian curriculum, which is called the Assessment Reporting Authority, and the Australian Institute for Teaching, which is ATSL, they both give explicit instructions that we need to include authentic inclusion of ICTs within the classroom. The Australian curriculum includes strand-specific guidelines targeting technology. And secondly, in every subject strand within the curriculum, not only mathematics, within every single year level, the content descriptors, the elaborations and the achievement standards for each level, it covers this multimodal communication that we need to be embedding within our classrooms. So you'll see up here that not only in mathematics, year 3, which is what we're targeting today, you can see that within English, the arts, HAS, health and PE, etc., they all need to cover an element of ICT inclusion.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, our governing body's curriculum, we do have to adhere to. It is the Australian curriculum, and the ATSOL and the teachers' standards are all informed by the Melbourne Declaration. The Melbourne Declaration is an internationally recognised document, and that gives considerable weight to our justification as educators delivering this to you, and and including it in our day-to-day practice. As you can see here in this statement, it says that all children are expected to have the essential skills in literacy, numeracy, and creative and productive users of technology, especially ICT, as it is the foundation for success for all learners. So that document alone informs its inclusion in the teacher standards and the Australian curriculum. Alrighty.
Okay, so we're going to speak about these objectives that are up here on the Prezi. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is how we need to appropriately use these objectives across our curriculum. So firstly, we've got here investigating with ICT, creating with ICT, communicating with ICT, and also managing and operating in the classroom with ICT. As parents, carers, educators, we acknowledge that there are so many arguments against the use of ICTs within young people and to limit screen time.
Specifically because of their well-being.
Yeah, their emotional health, well-being, and addiction that can come with it.
Yeah.
However, students of today are considered digital natives, so it's really important that we embrace this and we don't avoid it.
We take control.
Take control. That's right. So our Gen Zs, which is what is coming through our schools at the moment, they need us to embrace technology in a positive light, not a negative light. It's part of their lives and it's going to be part of our futures. So we need to embrace that in a positive way.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we said, we're focusing on Year 3 maths, specifically the geometric reasoning content descriptor, and Angry Birds, which you saw at the beginning. Having a little play at Angry Birds is relevant to these learners, as it's a game that they all know. We'll also touch on other ICT resources from Scootle, which is linked directly to the Australian curriculum, and other online platforms that relate them to Year 3 mathematics. Did we forget our order?
We forgot our order. Yeah, we'll just go back.
Did we miss something then? And
We must have just missed a screen here.
No, we didn't.
We're good.
And did we talk about all of that? Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Goodness
Never mind,
gracious.
we're on track.
We are.
Right.
So firstly, in most, you'll see here we've identified the curriculum links. So we've got identify angles and measures, compare sizes in everyday situations. We've got the achievement level that by the end of Year 3, students will recognise angles in real life situations, and that they're recognising these angles in the simplest things, such as the opening of doors and the hands on an analog clock.
Yeah.
And who'd have guessed that answering, the door and clocks would be all about angles and for our learners.
Yes.
So it's important that we know our curriculum content and we adhere to linking all of this to the actual outcomes. Now, every class has, nearly every class has ICT in the form of electronic whiteboards. The electronic whiteboard gives a direct link to the internet, and in fact we can access things such as a free calculator. I won't tap on that now, but you can tap on it when you're having a look in the Prezi. It clicks straight to a site where there's a free calculator. The calculator is another form of ICT that can be used within the curriculum, and there's some great games that help with their connecting numerals and place value, you name it, it's a whole gamut there.
Yeah.
And it means that by being able to click on it on the electric whiteboard, the teacher can model. A lot of what we do is about demonstrating, modelling, then doing it together, and then having the children do it on their own.
You're right. It really promotes that group inquiry, doesn't it?
It does.
So being able to do it as a group, reflecting on your with your teacher modelling using your electronic whiteboard, you can have those group inquiries where you're all together and bouncing ideas off each other. So it's a really nice way of getting everybody together and working together as a team.
It sure does. Now, where were we going into?
Okay.
We're going into resources first. Because in resources, and we'll just show you this is something for you to do at home. We've actually included that age-old Atari game. I don't know if all of you have seen this, but this is great. It's something simple, and again, it includes angles. We've got the, you'll be able to at home click on that link and have a go. It's a fun way of connecting with the kids. You can show your own experience.
Yeah.
We click onto Scoodle and we've got an amazing array of resources that we can tap into and use in the classroom.
So they all actually link with the curriculum descriptors. So when we as educators look to our curriculum for our standards that we need to teach, there's actually links to online resources through Scoodle, which is absolutely fantastic for us. Yeah.
And then you've got things like the good old pool table, a little bit of snooker. If you're into snooker, you can be addressing angles and how important they are to life through snooker.
Yeah.
And what was our last one? Maths is fun. Now, we really like this one because we're justifying the usage of Angry Birds because it connects with our digital natives.
Yes.
However, you can't always monitor everybody in the class doing exactly the right thing at the right time.
That's right.
But being able to use ICTs means that we can utilise a site such as Maths is for Fun, where the only game they're playing is a direct link and they can't get distracted by playing a game and lost within the tech fun of it.
Yeah.
So for us, it also has resources where we know we can trust that they are actually engaging in the content as in its purest form.
So that particular website actually gives a lot of little activities you can do that are hands-on, that specifically relate to the Angry Birds Angles topic that we're doing, and it will also give you a really good rundown of how to measure angles, which will come in handy when we're doing homework on this topic. So I'm going to give you a little run through of our Angry Birds Angles. I'll be sending you all home with a little handout, okay? So on your handout, it outlines basically what the Angry Birds app looks like, and that it's something that you can just download at home. It's something you can put onto your iPad, computer, phone, whatever kind of technology you're using within your home. And it also gives you a link to the Maths is Fun website where you can get a good idea on how to measure angles. And it's just a little bit of a guide. So we'll be sending you home with that today. And
then next, now we also can link this explicitly to academia through many theorists. I personally really love the Reggio Emilia experience. They continuously film the children at work and they display the children's work, and they use this display and this filming as a reflective tool so that they can scaffold the children on to further learning. It shares with people, so it really acknowledges what they're doing, so it shares with their parents and the community, and it has a big effect on that actual scaffolding, which then puts us in line with the play that is advocated by Montessori and Steiner, and is linked into the constructivist theory, where the child constructs their own learning through play, and of course socio-cultural, where they're learning alongside and with their peers and with family members.
So we are going to have a little watch here of a very short video of myself and my son giving this task a go at home. So you'll see how easy it is and how fun it can be to play this game and also learn about angles.
Going with the little numbers because the angle is small.
Okay, so we've lined our protractor up on the line. Okay, where so what line is that Angry Bird corresponding on our protractor? What angle is it? number are we going to go with? 33 or 153? 33. Use that measure.
It's also important then when we're playing with the children that we use the correct language, because then that makes them mathematically literate. So the literacy in maths is also targeted when we're speaking with the mathematical terms as we play, which is a really important part of it.
And you'll see there, because the protractor is a little clear plastic device, you can actually have it at the ready and you can measure each angle as you are playing the game. So it's a bit of fun. You can compare and experiment at which angle you can get your little angry bird to go.
And it's all involved in. Now, this screen we didn't speak to you about just yet. You can see that there are angles in nature. The learning sequence is a fundamental part of it is learning the first part and knowing that angles even exist. I mean, even in a squirrel tail, there is an angle. Angles are everywhere. So by using this resource, I went online and found Google Images angles, but we can go outside. We can be in the classroom. We can look at this fundamental language and that angles are everywhere, and then move on to practice.
Yeah, it's really important to make a connection between real life when learning about angles and embedding that into the learning. So it is really important to put your angle eyes on and have a really good look when you're doing your homework with your child, and have a look at angles around the home, in the garden, and identifying different little
I like
interesting
as a
angles.
mother, I like the angles in the clock.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come in for dinner at 5:30. Can you see that on the clock? Can you see that angle? So when it's straight up, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we know, when we know these things about the curriculum, about the child's learning, we can incorporate into our daily lives. And we are, as your teachers, are committed to supporting you in this. So by giving you this Prezi, once again, and having that link, it means that you can communicate with us and tell us, where is it? Hang on, I'm stuck with this bit. And this kind of homework is fun homework, so you're not having to fight about it and struggle through it.
Yeah. Okay. So here we have just a very quick video, and it just outlines, again, how to play the game and use your protractor. It's only a quick one, but it's very informative.
Angry Birds is a game you can use in math. One way you could use it is as a geometry lesson. You can take your birds and launch your bird, and then slide back and have students measure the angle they used for each bird. They could chart this, or whatever you would like for the students to do with that particular information. Or you could require students to have certain angles that they have to reach for each level. For example, let's try to hit 70 degrees with this particular bird. Okay. At least I hit something there. And then we measure this angle here, and I didn't quite get 70 degrees. Got a little closer to 60. But you can see how you could use this in a math class and be creative. And I hope this helps to use the iPad in your class.
Okay, so now to conclude this, we couldn't end it without a bit of fun. So you all have an iPad. So what we're going to do now is the app is loaded, and you've got that there, and you've got a protractor as well. You can have a little turn of it, but we're going to walk around the group now, and you can ask us questions. So whether it be to justifying to the curriculum, or elaborating on some of the academic justifications, or if you're worried about how we're going to send the Prezi to you and how you're going to access it, we can actually show you a little bit on the iPads themselves. But basically, you'll get an email which will have a link to everything you need to know, and you'll recognise it because you'll see the handout itself. Okay, so if you'd like to take out your iPads, we'll come walk around and help you out. Thank you.